See?
Yeah, that's right. I am. That's true.
But
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. So
And
It's all good.
we were in Act 2, Scene 1, and we had just made it beyond the first page. There's quite a bit of back and forth here. I think what we saw on that first page or so is you've got this happy guy Gonzalo who is grating on other people's nerves because he's such an upbeat guy, and he seems to have one ally only, and I think that's Adrian. So we could pick it up about, I don't know, I think we're 25 or 50 lines in, or do you just want to start doing some parts and then maybe quitting after 100 lines and going back and discussing? Like, what works for everybody?
I'll vote with the majority.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy as well.
Same here. Yeah.
Well, hold
Orla?
on. Let's see. Let me get.
What do you think,
Duncan,
Orla?
your decision.
I think it's if we read it all, then we might forget some.
Okay.
So the last week I thought we were going to go back and go over the bits towards the end. I thought we'd only got half the way through. We read quite a lot,
Right.
and then we were going to go back over some of it.
Okay. My remembrance is that we did that with the end of Act 1, Scene 2, but then we had moved on to Act 2, Scene 1.
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm sure that's the case.
Oh, we'd
because
read this. Yes, Act 2, Scene 1. We'd read this,
Right.
and then we were
We
going
did
back
read that, and
over
we
it.
wouldn't have gone on to read it if we
Right.
didn't
think-
feel like we had more or less
Right.
completed the
think so.
scene right before.
Right. And I think we read it right through. So
Oh, did you? Did you? I don't know if I was here.
You had a really old copy of Shakespeare, and you were sitting on a bed last week, Sylvia.
Oh yes, and my brother. That was my brother's. Yeah, my brother knew. Oh right. Okay.
Good job. Now,
I am in awe of your youthful and nimble brain, Orla, because I had not remembered any of this.
No, it's just a curiosity about
Right.
how you read Shakespeare. So do you have an old book, or do you have a new book, or do you have an annotated text?
Yeah.
so I don't know if you've noticed it or
Oh
not.
yeah.
I have put a
That's-
share screen up. This is
Yeah.
courtesy of Des. Des sent this to me.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
And this is so we can keep our characters straight.
This is actually really helpful. Okay, so Alonso is the king of Naples. Sebastian's his brother, as I read that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy who's plotting at the end with Antonio to ditch Alonso, because this makes sense. Ferdinand is the son who has been smitten with Miranda, and Claribel is the one who got married in Tunis,
Yeah,
Mhm,
and they're on their way home. Okay.
you got it.
Excellent,
Okay.
excellent.
Okay, and then of course you got the Dukedom of Milan with Prospero and his daughter Miranda.
I think, though, that Gonzalo is actually Alonso's counselor, I think, as opposed to counselor. Although,
well, we gotta. It's that's an interesting topic
fair enough.
because I think he's both. I think he did not abandon Antonio when
No.
Antonio
No, that's
put the
right.
screws to Prospero, but he did support Prospero on the side.
He did. He got him his books, if you recall.
And his,
And he helped transport him.
and his
Yes,
garments,
right.
and his garments, because he's living in style.
He's a fair dealer.
Yeah. I think he's more like a Kent in King Lear.
Yes.
He's
He is like a
described at the
cat,
start
except-
in the. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, please.
in the dramatis personae at the start, he's described as an honest old counselor. He's not attributed to any particular person.
Okay, I'm going to go back and you continue on because there was a line last week, which I found.
And so,
Prospero is explaining. Okay. No. Okay.
It might also be good to scroll. Let me scroll down the page because we got the main characters here, and then we got off to the side. We won't see them for a while as Sycorax, which is who's dead, but who was the mother of Caliban. And then we got all these more minor characters: Adrian, Francisco, Trinculo, Stefano.
Okay, I got the part on Prospero. Line 161, 1, 2, 1, sorry, Act 1, Scene 2. By providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us with rich garments, linen, stuffs, and accessories, which has steadied so much. So of his gentleness, knowing I love my books, he furnished me from my own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom. So he is Neapolitan, and I guess that's why I'm presuming that he is an advisor to Alonso. But
Well,
I
what
mean,
does Neapolitan mean?
from
Yeah.
Naples.
Oh, he's
Oh.
from Naples.
Yeah, he's a Neapolitan, Naples, and it's also a darn good tasting ice cream too. I
Took
don't
the
know.
words out of my mouth, Dave.
3 flavors, right?
So you have that in Ireland too, Neapolitan?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
love it.
Oh, they have a huge Irish influence,
Okay, there you go.
including fish and chips. My understanding is the original fish and chip
Okay.
vendors on the street were largely Italians. Kind of like the taco vendors in Texas.
Yeah. We have lots of Borzas and people like that, Aprile and other great names.
Will you talk about praline flavor of ice cream? Donna.
Was I? No, I was talking about the Italian fish and chipper Aprile.
Oh, okay. Okay, because we were talking about ice cream too, and I thought you were giving me the Irish pronunciation of pralines,
No, no.
which means pecan flavored.
and we say
Okay.
pecan, right?
Anyway, this is who we're dealing with here. And we can let me do one more thing here. Okay. All right, Dave.
Okay, so here's my suggestion then. Let us give to the very noble of heart Sylvia the role of Gonzalo. I would suggest, Duncan, that you and I be the two nasties, Sebastian and Antonio.
Okay.
If Donna could be Alonso,
Sure.
and if you could be Adrian Orla, and if we're just going to go to about line 100, I'm thinking, Des, that you get a holiday.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Okay.
He can be our critic.
Right. Okay. So are we good? Can we take it from the top then?
Yep.
We can. Give me just a second. I'm
Sure.
a little
Sure.
slow.
And my notes from Sister Frances Nims, with whom I took this course in university, her note was Alonso is in this scene. Alonso is in the depths of despair. Sebastian and Antonio try to increase it. So these are not nice people. Cross them
So
off your New Year's Eve party list, Donna. Don't invite.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to start somewhere around, and the rarest that e'er came there. Is that it?
No, are we starting at the top?
Could we? Because I think some people have forgotten from last
Okay.
week. Would that be
Okay,
all right?
so am I Sebastian or am I,
Antonio. Good
which
for
one
you.
of the bad guys am I?
You pick, and I'll be the other one.
Say it again.
You pick, and I'll be the other one.
Oh, I'll be Sebastian.
Okay, Antonio, I am then. Take it
You
away.
said before we start, Alonso is in the horrors because he thinks his son Ferdinand is dead.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do this bit. Act 2, Scene 1. Are we clued in, Donna?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
Tompkins, sorry. Are we on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
To Scene
Gonzalo,
1.
there you go.
Another part of the island. King Alonso, Gonzalo, Adrian, Francisco, Sebastian, Antonio, and others.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, of joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for a miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
I think that's
Oh, he receives comfort like cold porridge.
the visitor will not give him more so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir,
One tell.
when every grief is entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dolor comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you proposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Ay, what a spendthrift he is of his tongue.
I prithee, spare.
well, I have done, but yet,
He will be talking. Ugh.
Which of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
A cockerel.
Done the wager.
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
So you're paid,
uninhabitable and almost inaccessible,
yet
yet
He could not miss it.
it must needs of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
aye, and a subtle, as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or as 'twere performed by a fen.
here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Oh, maybe I got distracted. Ah, of that there's little, there's none or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
The ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, is indeed almost beyond credit.
As many vouch rarities are.
That our garments, being, as they were, drenched in the sea, hold, notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
Aye, but if one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we put them on first in Afric, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
Ah, 'twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since widow Dido's time.
Widow, a pox of that. How came that widow in? Widow Dido.
Oh, well, what if you had said widower Aeneas, too? Good Lord, how you take it.
Widow Dido, said you? You make me a study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
Ah, I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
And sowing the kernels of it in the sea bring forth more islands.
Aye,
By in good time.
sir, we are talking that our garments now seem as fresh as when we were in Tunis at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
And the rarest that e'er came there.
Someone will have to take my part. I have spilled a full cup of coffee all over myself and the floor.
Okay. I'll do both until we get to Francis.
No, but Des is not doing anything.
Yes, yeah.
I can take it then.
Yeah, can you take Sebastian and we'll read down to Francisco just there. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Who is it? My turn? Bait?
Yeah.
Bait, I beseech you, widow Dido.
Oh, Widow Dido, aye, Widow Dido.
It is not, sir. My doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it. I mean, in sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er again shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
So, since we don't have a Francisco yet, I'm wondering if it would be worth stopping here then and discuss.
Sounds like
Okay. We've got this Gonzalo who's trying to be cheerful when Alonso's son has presumably died.
right.
I mean, I find Gonzalo a very sympathetic character, but I'm wondering if there's a bit of overreach here on his part. What do the rest of you think in that first speech?
Yeah, he's certainly not taking note of Alonso's mood, which is clearly very dark because, as far as he's concerned, he's in mourning.
Yeah.
Now the others are a bit flippant, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
And they when they refer to he, are they referring to Gonzalo?
Yes, I think so, Sylvia. I think they're critiquing him harshly.
Yeah. There's something really irritating about the way they behave towards him. I mean, for me, he doesn't annoy me as much as he does you, Dave, you know, from what you said. He's just trying to say, you know,
Yeah.
trying to say, you know, be grateful for what we have. And although he does go on about the clothes, and they're probably wringing wet, are they?
No, I think that's his point, that they're not. That they've escaped the shipwreck and they should be just sopping wet. But he goes, no, they're kind of in the same condition that they were in when we wore them at the wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's saying that's really weird.
Yeah.
What's this about? This is not normal.
But I think it's really funny, and I can't find it, where he said, Sebastian. Sebastian says, I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it to his son for an apple.
Right.
I just think that kind of says it all about.
Maybe it speaks to the difficulty of knowing what to say when somebody has suffered a severe loss. And for me, a severe loss would be a spouse or a child.
But bear in mind, Dave, this is the King of Milan that we're talking about, isn't it?
Correct.
You know, that there should be deference being paid to him by his subjects, I would have thought,
Right.
which is certainly not being shown by characters like Sebastian.
No, that's right. As we shall see later on, there's some contempt because they're planning to give him the boot.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and that might be an early reflection of this.
Yeah. No, it's true. I'm just it's Gonzalo too that I'm wondering about. You know, like what do you say to someone who's had a loss? And I've heard people say, well, say something. But then I've heard people interviewed who've had a severe loss and they're going, people are saying the wrong thing to us. They say things like, well, it could be worse. Well, nobody wants to hear that. It's pretty bad.
I think, Dave, you're putting that in very common people terms. I don't mean that to proclaim. I just feel that with the king, you would say very little unless you were a close advisor. Now, Gonzalo is a close advisor, but even at that, I think he has to be very careful in what he says.
Right.
And I'm sort of surprised that he's not tackling the other guys and saying, you know, you need to show more respect.
Right. That's a good point.
All these guys have escaped death by drowning, all of them. So they're high as kites, and they find that their clothing is, pristine clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they've just come from the wedding or just going to the wedding.
For themselves, they've nothing to be sorry about. But if you read what Alonso says here, when they talk about, the clothes they're wearing, he said, you crammed these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence, my son is lost. And in my rate, she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I'll ne'er again shall see her. O thou mine heir of Naples and Milan, what strange fish had made his meal of thee? Now, what I want to say about that is, O thou mine heir of Naples and Milan. How come Fernando is the heir of Milan?
Good point.
Because Milan is a vassal state of Naples.
Right. And it wasn't always that way. It had to do with Prospero's removal as king. And so I think if I recall, the first act said that what Antonio did was he opened the gates, let the Neapolitans in. They made him king as a vassal king, and Prospero got the boot with the muscle of Naples. Is that correct? Is that
Yeah,
what
I think so.
think that's right.
And
Yeah.
for Fernando, as
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead, Duncan.
I was just going to say, if my memory of history is a little bit correct, Naples was actually controlled by the Spanish,
could be?
and the Spanish ruled over large parts of Italy for quite a long, long time.
Few hundred years, yes. But I'm just thinking that Fernando as the heir of Naples and Milan. This is a pretty good reason for Antonio to get his back up, he being the new Duke of Milan.
Right. And Des, you talked about them being kind of high and giddy because they'd survived the shipwreck. But it works to Sebastian's advantage if Ferdinand has died.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because
And
then,
Antonio.
yes, and they're conspiring together there. No, it's really it's
Well, no,
interesting.
but I think it's important to realize that Sebastian was brought into to the conspiracy by Antonio.
This is
Antonio's the fast one. Sebastian's kind of a wise ass. If you
yeah,
look at these early things, he's just making wisecracks on the side. He's almost like a jester.
right,
But it's Antonio. Yeah, it's Antonio who says,
right,
"Hey, man, this is an opportunity."
right. When they cook up the plot at the end of the scene.
When they cook up the plot at the
Yeah,
end of the
that's
scene,
right.
it's Antonio's doing. See, Antonio's the one who really realizes the opportunity going on here.
He's the schemer. Yes, yeah.
He's the schemer because if he can scheme with Sebastian and get rid of Alonso, Antonio will be in a much better position. Right now, he's just a vassal of Alonso.
Right.
When we
Anyway,
read
that's how I
this,
see it.
Very interesting.
when we read this last week, I really couldn't follow what was going on here.
Okay.
And even again when you read it, but I just come back and I just take Adrian, his first input. They're talking about the island, though this island seemed to be a desert. Now, if I forget about the other things and just continue on Adrian down the script, though this island seems to be a desert, uninhabitable and almost inaccessible,
Hmm.
it must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance. The air breathes upon us here most sweetly. He's pretty taken with the place, even though there's nothing there.
Hmm.
I certainly didn't get that the first time or the second time reading through it.
Right, right. I
Yeah, but they've
agree.
just survived a shipwreck, so they're possibly stunned to be alive. So they're everything is wonderful.
Well, for Adrian recognizes that.
Yeah, well, he's a happy guy.
He's a relatively happy guy, but now let me get my character list in order here because Alonzo is not a happy guy
Oh,
because he has lost a son.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? Not only does he think he's drowned, because Des just read that, he also thinks that he's been swallowed up by a fish, which is even worse.
Really,
well, I
Job's.
think he figures that as he drowned, he was going to be eaten by fish anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So
by a
he wasn't going to recover the body.
no. So, but I still think that um Gonzalo, you know, is still trying to make them realize about what has happened. This is a wonderful, amazing thing that's happened, that they have survived unscathed,
Hmm.
and they're that busy wittering on about different things.
I've just picked up a little piece here on Gonzalo. He said he was an honest and trusted advisor to King Alonso of Naples. He has a good heart and an optimistic outlook, and is
Mm.
described as noble. For example, when Prospero and his daughter Miranda are set adrift, Gonzalo took pity on them, supplying them not only with food and water necessary to survive, but also those things that make life easier.
Most critically, his library books,
Yeah,
Yeah.
from which presumably he derives his magical powers.
But you know those sort of people that say God is good in the middle of disaster. You know, there are people like that.
Yeah.
It's called this,
And
yes.
he's a bit like that.
yeah,
It's
he's
called
enough.
the survivor's bias.
Yeah.
God is good because he saved me.
But he saved all. Anyway, I'm just.
There must have been something wrong with those other people he didn't save.
They're going to hell.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually use Dez's routine when we talk about Alonso, and I'm just going to read the two parts here that I can see. So Gonzalo goes off going, "Hey, be happy," and Alonso says, "Prithee, peace," which is, I think,
Shut up.
a regal edict, because Dunn has talked about the hierarchy here. A regal edict, shut up. Well, he won't. And he then says, Alonso says, "I prithee, spare." And I think, again, spare your words is what mine says. Okay, and have we got more for Alonso? Alonso says very little, but he is trying to get him to pipe down. No, I think that's it. Who read the part of Alonso?
I did.
Okay, and so you got your big speech just
Yeah.
for the final. Okay, you
Let
cram
me
these
finish.
words into my ears against the stomach of my sense. He's, buddy, you're poking the bear here. You're twisting the knife.
But going back to Alonso, Dave, a
Yeah,
further note here says during their time on the island, Gonzalo repeatedly attempts to lighten the mood. This
right,
again reflects on his optimism, discussing the beauty of the island.
right.
And honest Lord, he speaks cheerfully of the miracle of the reconciliation of the Lords. Some critics see Gonzalo as the mouthpiece of the play,
Right.
who mirrors Shakespeare's relativist beliefs.
Donegal, which means what?
I'm not sure what relativist means. Again, what I'm seeing underlined here is that Gonzalo is the upbeat guy. He's the optimist,
Definitely.
and to keep
Look
everybody
on the
cheery.
sunny side of life.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right. Definitely. But I guess where I'm coming from is, it's like, okay, my wife died, so she says, yeah, but it's a beautiful day out. Well, what do I care, right? And that's
Well, I am the one, and this is something I always have to monitor in myself because I'm a bit of a relativist myself. So someone says,
what is that, Duncan?
what is what?
a relativist.
A
Yeah.
relativist. Okay, so if someone tells me that their 94-year-old friend has died, I'm like, wow, they really lived a long time. Fantastic. And it's very hard for me to um, even with people close to me, it's very hard for me to grieve the death of someone who has lived way beyond the normal lifespan. So I'm a relativist. And it's kind of like, and I'm also the type that would say, well, particularly if there's been a lot of hospice and nursing care involved, I'm usually say, well, let the dead bury the dead and let the living recuperate. So I'm very much a relativist in that way, but I've learned over time that one has to be very sparing about revealing this. Because just like with Alonzo, Alonzo's not ready to see the cheery side of life. He thinks his son has been drowned and possibly swallowed by a whale.
Yeah.
So for Gonzalo to be saying, wow, we're damn lucky. Look at this. We're saved. But Alonso's he didn't want to go there yet. So the character of Gonzalo is a bit of an odd character. I mean, it would have been one thing, like in these lines, instead of what he did say, if Gonzalo had started off, "Oh my God, Alonso, I'm really sorry about your son, but there's hope yet. We haven't, it's possible he's still alive."
Right. Right.
And we are we're in good shape. We're alive, so we can gather resources and we can look for him and all that sort of thing. That would be a more typical, sensible counselor's point of view. But again, I always have to remember who's who. Thank
Yeah,
you guys for this list. But Gonzalo, he's an interesting character. You have to wonder why Shakespeare did that.
And sort of complicating things further is when we see him first, we are already kindly disposed to him because Prospero has said he did us a good deed.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm presuming it's some risk if he's the King of Naples guy and he's getting books and this sort of thing and being pretty good to them, but he did it because it was the right thing. So it's even more complicated because we're off just right off the hop. We're kindly disposed to him because of what he did for Prospero and his baby daughter.
And we do have possibly the unconscious knowledge, at least the careful reader has the
Correct.
unconscious knowledge that Gonzalo probably knows what island they're on.
Could be.
And he knows that Prospero and Miranda are on that island.
Right.
sorry, who knows that?
Gonzalo, the guy who helped Prospero and Miranda.
He's wondering if Gonzalo knows.
I'm wondering if Gonzalo knows that this is a specific island that Prospero and Miranda on. And if I was a betting man, I would say he does know.
Right.
But Donna, you're gonna have to turn on the microphone for me to hear you.
Sorry about that. I was just going to say there's nothing in the text to suggest that, is there? It's
No.
just a hunch on your part.
Well, we could possibly go back and look at whatever Prospero said originally, because we don't know how exactly Gonzalo helped him. Did he just put stuff on a boat and put Prospero on a boat and Prospero and Miranda sailed off with their goodies?
That's how it seems to me, I must say.
Yeah,
That's how it seems to you? Okay.
I think that's what happened. I don't think he knows this island.
Okay.
I just
I
think
don't think he knew their destination when they were sent away from the island. Sorry, from their country. He helped out, but he didn't know what the destination was. I mean, was there even a destination? We don't know who was sailing this ship that they were on.
We don't know
and,
who
and,
was
and
sailing the ship.
he won't know if they're still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then okay, so I'll just say then there's the question of, let me go back to the character list. There's the question of when Antonio took over, what did he think? Did he think he was going to have his brother and niece assassinated, or were they just going to be banished?
Well, that's a very good point because you have suggested, hey, go back to find out what Prospero says. Here's what he says. It's about line 145, Act 1, Scene 2, 145. So, Okay, well demanded wench, my tale provokes that question. Okay, wherefore did they not that hour destroy us? Miranda says, well demanded, my wench, says Prospero. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not, so dear the love of my people bore me. No set a mark so bloody upon the business. But with colors fair painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, so a ship, bore us some leagues out to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt of a tub, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, or mast, the very rats instinctively have quitted. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong. So as far as I can see, what they did was they got him out of sight on a decent ship, and then they put him aboard this ship, which was held together
The death ship.
by duct tape and binder twine kind of thing, and then they sent them off in that, hoping that the sea would finish the business. I mean, that's how I interpret that. At any rate.
Yeah. It's very helpful. Yeah.
It is hopeful.
Okay.
Well, it's very, it's using the text.
Right.
And so, okay, so do we have this image that when they took him out of the boat and then they put him on this piece of crap, that they loaded it up with Prospero's books and clothes and stuff and set them adrift. And then by some magic, Prospero got them to an island where he set up a kingdom.
Now, he says, actually, no, that's a good point, Duncan. Okay, so Miranda said, well, how came we ashore, right? Because she was two, she didn't know. And he says, by providence divine. Some food we had, some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linen stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much. So I'm thinking that they got to that island somewhat by luck. I mean,
Okay.
call it what you want, divine providence, chance, whatever you want, God's will. But yeah.
Okay, so you've just established that Gonzalo would not know that they were shipwrecked that day at the island where Prospero and Miranda were ended up. Gonzalo's innocent, or not, he doesn't know that. In
And there's
fact, he
nothing in
doesn't
the
even
text
know
to
if they
indicate it.
survived.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I heard you.
I was just saying that there's nothing in the text to indicate that Gonzalo knew anything other than they had been put on this wreck of a ship.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for indulging me, because this really clarifies things quite a bit for me.
It doesn't mean you're not right, Duncan.
No. And I think it was an avenue we need to look down. I listen to this science program once a week, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation again. They got all these scientists on, and a lot of these guys say, and Duncan, I mean, this is why what you do is a good thing, even if it turns out to be a kind of a dead end. Is these guys say what non-scientists don't understand is most of what we do ends in failure, but we have to try to do it. He said, when you're interviewing people on your programs, you're getting the guys who've met success.
Yeah.
But he did interview one guy who was looking at the life cycle of those lemmings, and he had theories. And over the course of his career, he pursued a bunch of theories, and he came up empty-handed. And he retired, and they brought him on the program to talk about his work. And he said, "Yep, it just didn't lead anywhere." But the good thing is, we explored these channels so other people don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's good that you put things out there, because we that really have to learn the text, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Just as a side
There's
note, I'm a fan of Karl Popper's myself.
And he,
I have a
Karl,
question.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question here. It's just the first mention of Antonio. He's only the third part into it. Gonzalo ends up anyway, our sorrow and our comfort. Pretty peace, says Alonso, give me a break. And Sebastian says, he receives comfort like cold porridge. This is a comment on Alonso. And Antonio says, the visitor will not give him or so. Now, my question is, who the hell is the visitor?
My note says, for what it's worth, the visitor is the spiritual comforter. And give him over so means release him so easily. So the spiritual comforter will not release him so easily. Meaning Gonzalo's not going to quit.
Oh, right.
Oh, huh.
And then Sebastian says, look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike. And boom.
Well,
Gonzalo.
let's go back to the earlier thing now. So first we had this little speech by Gonzalo saying, my God, we are really lucky.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then Alonso, who has just lost his son, as far as he knows, says, prithee peace, which is just a short way of saying, Gonzalo, come on, man. Don't try to cheer me up. I've just lost my son. Then
Right.
Sebastian, who actually stands to gain from Ferdinand's death, is pretty take it easy about it all. And he says Alonso, receives comfort like cold porridge.
Very sarky.
Pretty sarky, yeah. Yeah, but it makes sense for Sebastian to be sarky because he's gonna see the positive side of it pretty easy. He didn't lose a son. As a matter of fact, he just got his second competitor to
Right.
the throne out of the way. Maybe. I think this is a possible, maybe, of course, I can't know, but Sebastian's, all of Sebastian's stuff is really smart assy,
Right.
you know, I ain't worried about a thing type stuff.
Right.
He goes on and on and on. Sebastian is kind of a prick.
He is. And you know what, Duncan? Like if we go back to the very first scene, we look at Sebastian and Antonio, what they're saying to the boatswain who's, trying to save their
The
lives.
bosun. Mhm.
Sorry, say that it's bosun, right? Bosun.
Well, I could
Yeah,
be
I think you're right.
boatswain or
Yeah,
boatswain.
no, bosun, I think is correct. Anyway, these guys are being quite nasty to him in the first scene. Like our first impression is not positive. A
Uh-huh.
pot to your throat, you bawling, blasphemous, and charitable dog. Hang, and that's Sebastian, and here's Antonio. Hang her, hang you horse and insolent noisemaker. We're less afraid to be drowned than thou art, because the boatswain is trying to save things. Ah,
Hmm. Hmm.
whoa,
Yeah, they're not nice guys.
they aren't.
They're
You're not inviting them home
typical.
for dinner, Sylvia.
I don't think. I don't think they're the sort of, but they're the sort of guys you might meet in a pub.
Yep.
Um, should we read on to see if
Okay.
it illuminates us further?
We can go with the same people if everybody is okay with that, and then we'll move Des in as Francisco. And Des, you would get the first. You get the first word here, which is "Sir, he may live."
Okay.
Like this
Sir.
is actually so we are like 115 lines, so almost 120 lines in, and this is actually the first bit of real comfort for the king that you get to deliver, Des.
Okay, here we go. Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in a lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn bias bowed, has stooped to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, no, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. That would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye. Who hath cause to wet the grief on it?
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between lothness and obedience at which end of the beam should bow. You have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in it of this business making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dear other loss.
My Lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most surgeonly.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord,
You sow it with nettle seed.
Or dock or mallows?
and were the king on it, what would I do?
'Scape being drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things, for no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service none, contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil, no occupation. All men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavour. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind all poison, all abundance, to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among the subjects.
None, man, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo.
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do believe, your highness. And did it matter to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs, that they always used to laugh at nothing?
'Twas you we laughed at.
In this kind of merry fooling, am I nothing to you? So you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow there was given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are gentlemen of brave mettle. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
I'm wondering because Ariel comes in here now, and enter Ariel Invisible playing solemn music. If this might be a time to kind of take a breath
Mm.
and digest it, because we're moving on to something new where Ariel puts people to sleep, and Antonio and Sebastian are left to plot. Would that be? Would this be an okay time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah, few more
Gonzalo's doing a
lines of
very Rousseauian thing here.
Well, he's a downright commie, Duncan.
He's a car. I was thinking,
He's a state of nature
Oh,
Rousseauian.
yeah.
yeah, it's
Bernie
really,
Sanders is a fascist in comparison, Duncan.
That's right, Gonzalo.
he's building a utopia.
He is. He is.
Well, fantasizing one anyway.
Right.
But he's been mocked and despised, and he's still carrying on. I
He
kind of like.
is. He's either not reading the social signals or he's just irrepressibly buoyant.
I suggest that we would read on the next half dozen lines until all of them go to sleep, with the
Oh, right.
exception of,
Sounds good.
in other words, it finishes the conversation that we've been having.
Sure. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick it up then, Sebastian? And
Okay, so enter Ariel, invisible, playing solemn music. We would so, and then go a bat fowling.
nay, my good lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh at me asleep? For I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us. Okay, is this where you figure we should maybe break it then? Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, yeah, that's a way better break than I had. Okay, but here's the thing: if you go back, so you've got Adrian, who's the other, no, Francisco. You got Des who comes in and goes, "Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him, ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms and lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn bases bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land." And you would think that any of us who have kids would say, "Oh, let's check this out." But Alonzo goes, "No, he's gone." It's just like he's impervious to good news.
And if you just follow that on from there, the next few lines that Sebastian says, does that raise the question of where they're now located? Are they in North Africa, for example?
Okay.
You may thank yourself for this great loss that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African.
Right, because he's married her off in Tunisia.
From Iran. Sorry, Dick.
Yeah, this is true. No, that's a good point. Thank you, Donna, because basically what Sebastian is saying is your kid has died and it's your own fault. Very comforting words.
Is he saying that?
Yes, he says it here. He says, the fault's your own, line 139 in my book.
Okay.
So the talk that you were referring to, go down to Sebastian's next speech and right at the end, he's going, "You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us." And then he goes on, and then he says, "The fault's your own." Right at the end of that.
Yeah.
Right. I think one purpose of this, though, is to establish in the viewer or the reader's mind that there's already bad blood between the brothers.
Yep.
And so it won't take much for Antonio to talk Sebastian into scheming.
No. And I guess it throws Gonzalo's optimism into greater relief. Like if you've got to pick one of the two extremes, Gonzalo looks more attractive. With his upbeat.
Well, yeah, but it's a really interesting thing because in the very beginning of this scene, I mean, Gonzalo comes across as not very sympathetic
Right.
to Alonzo's situation.
Mm.
Alonso's just lost his son, as far as he knows. And he's, in early shock and grieving.
Right.
And Gonzalo's doing nothing but talking up the positive.
Yeah. But
But
he, oh, sorry, you carry on.
no, I was finished.
Oh no, but Gonzalo then um um chastises Sebastian and says,
Hmm.
you're lacking gentleness here. To speak, you rub the sore when you should bring a plaster. I mean, is he saying, consider your brother?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
happened to
yeah.
him?
Yeah, Sebastian, he's saying, Sebastian, don't be such a bastard, man. Come
Hmm.
on. So this is it's an interesting character situation because, Gonzalo is able to switch moods, according to this, where in the beginning he was talking up the positive, and now he's, giving Alonso his space to grieve. So, he's showing
When you're
more
talking about shock, sorry,
shock.
and
Hmm.
yeah, I thought things like shock weren't at least studied or accepted until after World War One with shell shock. So when we talk about people being shocked, is that like, are we putting our late 20 whatever century we live in ideas on top of people who lived in the 16th century?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I think I mean, I could be wrong, but other than, like if you go back to Homeric times when dying in battle was actually a positive, supposedly, um, there would not have been the shock. But in this particular case, they're not in battle, they're not at war. It's been a shipwreck. They had just come from a wedding and they thought they were going to be home in a couple of days. And instead, there's a big storm, and as far as Alonzo knows, he's lost his son. So he would be in shock, not necessarily in the same sense as we talk of post-traumatic stress syndrome. But
Sure, Gonzalo's, you know, putting down um, Antonio, no, Sebastian.
Hmm.
And Antonio comes in and says, well, sorry, Gonzalo says, and you rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Hmm.
But Antonio says, and most chirurgianly. Now, this chirurgeon is a surgeon who, at that time, even would have dealt on physical stuff, external stuff, as distinct from a physician who would deal with medicines and herbal stuff. So it's the external only, and doesn't deal with the internal, the stuff that Alonso is dealing with.
the chirurgeonly, that has to do with surgery?
It's physical surgery, yes. You're
Okay.
dealing with it on the pure physical stuff, and you're forgetting about the internal stuff, the physicians, medicines, herbal stuff for internal and emotional dealings.
Mhm.
It's just Antonio putting a knife in here. Forget about the soft stuff. You're just dealing with the physical. That's where we are. Does that make sense at all?
And is he linking in with he's linking with Gonzalez point?
Insofar as it's external. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's saying, forget about the internal stuff, the
Mm.
emotional stuff. He doesn't want that to be dealt with.
Okay.
And find my copy. Oh, where's the tempest?
And then there's a play on words here. It's foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Right.
And does everybody else have this? And then Sebastian says FOWL, foul weather. There's FOUL, weather. Do you all have that?
I have FOUL weather,
And then
FOUL.
but they would be the same. I mean, it's just different spellings, right?
yeah, I've got
Yeah.
the secrets,
Sylvia, foul weather would be bad weather for ducks.
yeah,
Sir Mallows. Little seed, yeah.
very foul. But Sebastian's in my book saying FOWL
Mm-hmm.
in the spell. Has everybody got that?
Well, according to a note in my Arden copy, it says foul weather, FOUL weather, question mark, F's, somebody's FOULE suggests that perhaps Sebastian is making another feeble attempt at a pun, picking
Mm.
up on earlier jokes about cocks. But Antonio doesn't take the bait.
No, very foul, he says. And then Gonzalo goes off on his utopian journey.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Yeah. I mean, but can you imagine? I mean, here's these guys, and they're getting really agitated. So he's a wise counselor. So he's trying to diffuse the situation. I think I kind of like him.
So is that where you see this kind of utopian vision of the island coming from? That he's trying to diffuse the situation?
Yeah, well, see, because they're in the middle of all this.
No, no. This is good, Sylvia, because I was thinking till you brought that point up. Well, where's this coming from? But okay,
But he's just trying to change the subject.
right.
And of course, Antonio says he'd sow it with nettle seed. That's a weed. Or docks or mallows. They must be some sort of weeds as well. I mean, they're just mocking him all the time.
We are mocking him. Yeah, they
They're
are they're
they're a bit like the guys in Bar in Barney Kearnan's pub when it's sort of mocking Bloom.
No.
right. They feel superior, like
Yeah,
Antonio and Sebastian feel superior to Gonzalo.
Right.
yeah.
And
Okay.
takes it because he's got a utopian. He's a bit of a utopian himself, isn't he?
You talk about Gonzalo?
No, no, I'm talking about Bloom because Sylvia said
Oh, Bloom is a utopian. Yeah,
it's
he's
like in the
always come up
Cyclops
with
chapter where they're all getting on Bloom. Here they're all getting on Antonio.
they're
And I
getting
like your comparison. And I was just saying so that Bloom is also a bit of a utopian.
Mm.
he's a bit of a utopian and he's from their point of view a Jew,
He's an outsider.
an outsider.
Yeah,
So they can gang up on him.
right.
So in this case, you know, they decided for whatever reason. So this is Antonio and Sebastian. This is, I think, the first sign that we have of Antonio and Sebastian kind of gravitating towards each other.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, to pick up Donna's point from much earlier on, Donna's saying, okay, so we're dealing with a situation where we've got a king. It's quite hierarchical. So you got all these rich and powerful guys here, and Gonzalo's talking about no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe this isn't quite the audience that you want to be saying this to.
But there's no respect for Alonso really either.
Yeah,
You
okay,
know, this is so, I mean, everybody's equal here, almost.
that's a good point.
Aren't they? You wouldn't really know that, if you were staging this, because we sometimes go down that alleyway, but you'd have to really make them very distinctive in their dress or something. You have to try, and because these characters are very confusing.
Yep.
Well, but on a stage, they would probably be dressed so they're more easily identified as upper, lower,
Hmm. Or,
etc.
or something. Yeah, yeah. You
And
know,
and the way they would speak to
Yes,
each
it's
other.
language often.
Yeah, it would be in tonalities, dress, etc.
and you have to always remember as well, I'm going off the point. I always kind of remember what Shakespeare's trying to do here. I mean, he's talking about, I mean, I think we decided that in some ways this play was about colonization. And here we have Gonzalo giving you some sort of ideas which are very revolutionary.
And very different to the current ruling structure of the island, right? Whereas Prospero is definitely the Lord
Hmm.
through his magical powers, right? He controls
Through
Caliban,
his magical powers and his knowledge.
right? And so he controls Caliban and he controls Ariel.
Yeah, and he controls Miranda
I
too.
suppose that's true too, right? Whereas Gonzalo's got this, like I said, I this is sarcastically, this communist notion, right?
Hmm.
Well, remember this is in some histories this is Shakespeare's last play.
Right.
But
So
it would be
maybe
dictatorial rather than communist, wouldn't it? Because they're all doing it would be sort of like a tech uh,
there you go.
a tech guide. You know the way with
This is
AI we're not supposed to have to work in the future.
yeah. Right.
So we'll all be sitting around doing nothing, but it will all be owned by a few people.
Right.
I
I
mean, it's a
understand.
weird version of utopia, but that's what they seem to be suggesting might happen.
No occupation, all men idle, all women too. It's nice the way Shakespeare doesn't forget the woman, does he? But all innocent and pure. Wow, I wonder
Women
what that means.
too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
And he's got the king. He's got the king sitting beside him, and he
Right.
said no sovereignty.
No, this is the thing.
I mean, this is yet he would be king on it. Oh, so who would be king on it? Sebastian.
Well, I would love to have been in the audience when this was first performed.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Down
outrageous.
in the hoi polloi pit.
Yeah. I really like again. I really like I really like Gonzalo.
Yep. No, but Sylvia, it's like it's like Marco Rubio standing beside Trump and going, "I don't think we should have presidents," right?
We're all equal.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
So it's kind of neat, isn't it?
Well, look at and listen to this. Antonio's response. Uh, Sebastian says, "No marrying among his subjects." Antonio, "None, man, all idle, whores and knaves."
Oh,
There we have the upper class view of the common people. If we
yeah.
don't keep them busy and in line, they're going to just be whores and knaves.
Oh, and so Gonzalo really sticks his neck out. And the next thing he said, I would with such perfection govern, sir. I mean, so he's almost committing a treason here, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, no,
think
almost he is committing treason.
Well, he's certainly stating radical ideas.
Hmm.
But I
I,
like
I think
Sebastian's right after that, save his majesty.
I think they're joking.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, even to say this sort of thing, from Gonzalo.
Yeah, but he's trying to cheer up the king, trying to cheer up Alonso.
Well, he could lose his
I
head.
mean, if
He
that
could
was in
lose.
the time of if that was in the time of your former character Macbeth, it would have been off with his head, I think.
Yeah.
I know.
After that line, save his majesty, Antonio comes in with long live Gonzalo as sort of a silly remark. But Gonzalo comes back and says, do you mark me, sir? Who is he referring to there?
Alonzo comes in and says, "Do you mark me, sir?"
No,
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 not
no.
Orlando. No,
no.
Gonzalo. Do you mark?
Gonzalo says,
Oh, okay. Well, in my copy of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh yeah, okay. In my paper copy, it does say, "And do you mark me, sir?"
And what does mark mean?
Um, it,
Probably.
it means do you take notice of me? Do you understand me? I
Yeah,
don't have a
pay
note on it.
attention. Are you paying attention to me?
Okay, okay.
You feel me?
who
All
is he
right.
speaking to?
I think he's talking to the Sebastian and Alonso and Antonio.
Although it is Alonso, yeah, and it's Alonso who, if he is the sir, says pretty no more. They'll just talk
Thou
nothing.
does talk nothing to me.
Right.
In other words, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Don't talk anymore. You're just full of crap.
Right. Especially to a king.
I do well believe your highness and did it to minister occasion to these gentlemen who have such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use it to laugh at nothing. So Gonzalo is now going to say that he was saying all that to protect Alonso and to chastise Sebastian and Antonio.
Hmm.
Because we do have to remember that Sebastian and Antonio are inferior to Alonso.
And is he saying they're just simpletons, these guys? They laugh at nothing.
Well,
They always laugh at nothing.
yeah, they're just mockers. Interesting. Anyway, it is late. Uh, let us make a quick decision.
Where do you want to pick it up? Do you want to pick it up where we finished reading, where they
We
fall
can,
asleep? Are we good till there, or
uh, yeah, I mean it's a complex type thing, and we could end up spending, I think, an inordinate amount of time just on these few lines because it's very complex. Or we could go with inter aerial invisible plane solemn music.
If you want to, you know what? If you want to have another throw at these lines, where would I mark it then?
Um, I would mark it with Gonzalo saying, "I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age." Because that's really when Sebastian and Antonio rebel and tease him.
Okay. All right. It's marked.
And when are we going to meet?
Correct. So
Ah,
it's Boxing Day next Friday. Do you guys do Boxing Day in Ireland?
No.
No, we have St. Stephen's Day.
There it is. Okay. All right.
so will you be out? I guess the real question is, are you out and about or are you at home looking for something to do?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'll be at home looking after my grandchildren.
Okay.
And
All
are you
right.
going to bring them on and give them parts?
We'll be training them over the Christmas period. And we can ask them what their interpretation of all this is.
There you go. Well, be sure to enlighten us. Okay, but we have to, okay, so it's St. Stephen's Day, it's Boxing Day. It's Boxing Day for you, Dave Little,
Yeah, in Canada it's Boxing Day. Yep.
in the, okay. Um, we could punt. And what about the day after New Year's? Because that's the next
Sure. That's the next
Friday.
Friday the 2nd. Yep.
And as I will say, I'm just hanging out.
Okay.
I mean, the most I would be doing is maybe going to a movie.
I personally would be good for Friday the 2nd.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, that's at least four of us.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Orlo, what
Friday
about
the
yourself?
2nd.
What about-
I'll be here. I'm down here for the whole time. But I don't know about Stephen's Day because my brother is coming with all his family.
Yeah, we will skip St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day.
Okay.
I'll go to the movies or something like that. But on the second, um,
We'll convene.
we will convene and continue our in-depth exploration
Okay.
of the Tempest.
Hopefully we'll remember what we were talking
I
Get
I
into
actually
the
think we will, 'cause there's enough humor and enough radical stuff in
All
what we
right.
read today that
Well, I had to look up something interesting, the Lemming effect.
Oh,
Where did you get
So-
that, Orla?
The Lemming effect by the US Navy, apparently it was. No, you know the way you just type it into the top of the search engine and you go, the Lemming effect? Because you said that man had been studying it. So
the
obviously
yeah, go ahead.
that scientist has been studying it. Many scientists have been studying it. Because I'd heard about lemmings, but I didn't know the whole, but apparently it's a person who is not a lemming upholds the standards and doesn't give in to following the herd.
Well, usually the lemming.
There's all this stuff about dishonor. And
Okay, right.
And what is this in relation to what we're talking about?
earlier on, Dave mentioned listening to scientists and somebody who studied lemmings to see why they jumped off cliffs. But the lemming effect has been studied by many people, but
Yeah.
it blindly following.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm usually to the suicidal end.
Or to a disastrous end. I think it's
Yeah,
it's
well,
more
I
broad
think
than that.
I think it's based upon, and I don't know if this is a biological fact because I haven't witnessed it myself, but that when lemmings reach a certain population density, they suddenly start running, and they run to a cliff and go over the cliff into the sea and drown.
No, their buddies follow them.
Huh?
All their buddies follow them over the cliff and into the sea.
Yeah, they
They're,
die.
yeah.
they die.
Yeah, I put something in the chat there, Orla.
Mhm.
Oh, let's
When
see.
It is exactly as you said. It is exactly as you called it. There it is. Probably the same.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
All the best to everybody. See you in the new
Have a
year.
good Christmas.
Alex,
Good season, everybody. Thanks a lot for today's.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
great.
Good
Bye.
night. Good night.